Oh, wait a minute. It's oh, okay, so I have to rotate it back. Oh, that sucks. Oh, okay. Dude. Dude, no. Okay. All right. Well, that sucks. That's gonna be an issue because my phone. Well, you know what? I guess I can take it off the charger. Just take it off the charger. It just doesn't quite fit in this tripod, and this is why I don't do duo lives. All right, we got two people in here. Sorry, guys. This is a what's up, Oscar? This is a different setup than I normally do, so I'm not used to using YouTube Live. I'm having to totally readjust my tripod. Okay, all right. That's adjusted. That's set up. It's good to go. Whew. How you doing tonight?
Doing pretty good, man. Just chilling.
Good. So, how old are you, if you don't mind me asking?
33.
33 years old. So, when you were collecting like your highest grade cards, or I guess the highest quality cards that you have, I mean, um, what age were you then? Was this in 2015 when you found a lot of the deals on this stuff?
Yeah, I was 25, 26.
Okay. And what was going through your head when you were like, I need to get these? Was it just nostalgia? You were wanting to get back to it? What do you remember, like what triggered that?
Yeah, so I always had my childhood cards. I never got rid of them. And my childhood cards were pretty spotty. Cuz I had a lot of base set, and none of this was first edition, well except one card. We'll get to that. Um I had a lot of base set, a lot of jungle, a lot of fossil, and my collection was basically just all 151 like in order. And it just happened to be whatever card I happened to have. Like I had a non-hollow Moltres, and then I had like a non-hollow Wigglytuff, but I had most of the bangers. I had the Charizard, the Blastoise, but they were all unlimited. They weren't shadowless. And then
So did you pull those yourself, or did you like trade
yeah,
with like friends? Like it's summer camps. Like how did that?
kind of a combination of both. I know that I pulled one of the base set Charizards. So, man, I have a crazy good memory when it comes to this. So the first Charizard I got, I traded. We lived in North Carolina. We lived in Cherry Point because I know you're in Charlotte.
Right on.
This is 2009. I mean, not 2009, 99. And the first Charizard I got, base set Charizard, I traded a lady at the flea market. I traded her a Japanese Dark Charizard and a Koga's Beedrill for it.
Huh. You
Yeah.
did a trade. You did a
Yeah.
trade several years back.
Yeah.
Huh. I was expecting you, if you're at a flea market, I was expecting you to be like, this lady just wanted to get rid of them and I paid like $5 for it or something like that.
Nah,
Okay.
she was a big time collector herself. And at the time it was a pretty even trade. Believe it or not, as a kid, I opened a lot of Japanese product because it was a military town. There was a lot of that available at the flea markets. And I specifically remember the packs were about $10 a piece, but
Hmm.
it was awesome as a kid because besides base set, you always got a hollow. And then
Really?
like, yeah, so base set's the only one that was like 1 and 3, but like jungle, at least up to the e-reader sets, you were
Wait a minute.
guaranteed a
Wait a
hollow.
minute. So Japanese sets had a guaranteed hit?
Yeah.
Okay, this is completely, totally news to me.
Yeah, and that's why they're so cheap now because and booster boxes had 60 packs. So
I
60
always thought they
hollows
were
in a.
cheaper because they were just. I always thought they were cheaper. Yo, what up, guys? That's one of my best friends that's popping into our stream right now.
What's up, man?
You too, buddy. So what was I gonna say? I always just assumed that people just didn't care about Japanese cards. I just assumed that they
Yeah.
they they only wanted the American stuff.
Yeah, it's because it was so much more common. Yeah. 60
I
60
had,
60 packs of booster box and a foil in every box
of
in
course,
every.
everything comes down to mathematics, right? I thought it
Mhm.
was totally a thing of like people just want the American cards. That's what they want. But really, that doesn't make a whole lot of sense because the Japanese cards, obviously, that were originated from Japan, that should be the ideal cards to get. But I guess, and even knowing that there was one in every pack, they're still doing very well today. Wouldn't you say? Like the vintage Japanese cards. I don't know if that's because of the modern Japanese boom. What do you think about? What do you think about this whole modern Japanese boom right now with cards that are
Uh,
out the gate worth thousands of dollars or hundreds of dollars? I'm no expert on Japanese
yeah.
cards. Maybe you can teach me something about that, or maybe somebody in the chat can chime in. Guys, this is an open discussion, an open Q&A. So even if we're talking about stuff, feel free to shoot a question out. I have very limited experience. I've only been collecting back again for 3 years, and when I was a kid, we didn't have Pokemon cards. The only cards I got from Blockbuster was like pretty much Yu-Gi-Oh packs, and that was an amazing experience. I remember pulling the Buster Blader, and that's like one of the only things I remember because I had to trade for a lot of my stuff as a kid.
Pharaoh's
Um,
servant for Buster's Blader. Yeah.
Dude, and I think Yu-Gi-Oh right now is still super undervalued. It's still super undervalued. And of course, if Yu-Gi-Oh, I think some people are like, nah, dude, modern Yu-Gi-Oh, there are some cards that are really expensive, like Ghost of the Past or the Starlight cards. I don't know if you're familiar with those, but
I keep up.
I'm I've always been wondering, like, am I gonna hate myself for being a big Yu-Gi-Oh fan, and then all of a sudden Yu-Gi-Oh blows up, and the whole time I was like, yeah, I think Yu-Gi-Oh is undervalued, and then it just blows up under my nose? Or do you think it's kind of priced in well with Pokemon right now, and they're both pretty much where they should be? And
So
then
I'm not.
again, the
Yeah.
Japanese. What are your thoughts on the Japanese and the modern and the craze and the waifu?
Yeah. Well, I fall for the waifu cards too. So, all right. So my opinions
And
on the
and if
Japanese
you
product.
can explain, because I didn't even know what waifu was, if you could explain to everybody what waifu is, I might sound like an idiot, but I didn't know what it was up until like a couple days ago. What waifu even was?
So it's just a term to describe your favorite anime girl. It doesn't even have to be Pokemon. It's just, Pokemon's huge right now. So it's just always been kind of like your favorite, like if you're watching Evangelion, Ray is your waifu. Or if Pokemon, Misty is a really early waifu for a lot of us. Like
Okay, yeah, okay.
there's a male version too. It's husbando, but you don't hear that often because, yeah,
I've never heard that.
yeah,
Husbando?
yeah,
Is it spelled like husband? Like
yeah,
husband?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
husbando waifu. Okay,
yeah, yeah.
is it near? Is that supposed to sound like husband wife?
It probably translates. I'm not that much of a weeb, so yeah. But anyway, I think a lot of the Japanese craze is driven by kind of the need to want, and it being like, several sets ahead. Like people are really wanting the new thing. And, a lot of people are like, oh, well, the pull rates in Japanese are so much harder to get, the secret rares, so they're so much more valuable. What people don't realize is in Japan, a box is supposed to cost $40 for 30 packs. So if you do the math, you could get about 3 to 4 boxes for the price of one English box, and you're getting about the same amount of hits. So it's artificially, influxing the market because it's like, well, I paid 5 times the amount to get that 151 box. People are paying $200 for it, but it's supposed to only cost $40.
Have you bought it already?
No, but a local shop I have gets it, and they wanted 175 a box.
Wow.
Yeah. And dude, people buy it from them. Yeah. So I think that's kind of the reason why the Japanese market is so like, it's like, well, I paid 200 for that box, so I want 500 for that card. It's like, yeah, but the box should have only been $40, so it's going to crash. It's just, it's like nobody cared about Japanese cards before. And I think it's mostly driven by just people wanting it now. Like I don't want 151 in September. I want it now. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I
Like,
know what you're saying, and I think that's ruining Scarlet and Violet. in a big way. I think a lot of people feel that way. We're so consumer driven in this
Yeah.
country, so consumer driven, and we can't even wait for that set to come out. But I also, on the flip side, feel like I feel like when I've looked at a certain American card and it's in Japanese and it's a decent amount cheaper, I'm like, why is this? Why am I not just jumping to buy this card in Japanese? The Japanese language is beautiful. That's the origin. That's where Pokemon cards are coming from. That's really the birthplace. So like it seems right to buy those cards there. Um, but for whatever reason, I just want to wait for the American sets. Mainly because I can read them, right? So I can read the cards, I can read the boxes. That's kind of important. You know, I kind of wish I was fluent in Japanese. I know I said that in the Discord, but I'm just gonna wait for the English set. I'm just gonna be patient, and that also gives me time. Like right now, if I wanted to stock up on 151 boxes, which I don't know. I don't know if it's a bubble. I never know. I always have a lot of FOMO and impulse, and that's a whole other discussion. Like what this hobby is really doing to people, and how we're all passionate about it, and we love it, but we also aren't talking about the financial implications of being a long term collector and like what that's really doing to you long term. If you're putting all your money into sealed product, yeah, I could appreciate, yeah, I could do well, but right now, like there's also 4% basic bank accounts where you can have your money sitting and you're getting 4% on it. And that starts to really add up, and you've got compounding interest and all that good stuff. Um, that's how I talk. I kind of go off on tangents on multiple
Yeah, that's
things.
fun. Yeah.
But what's something that you think people should be talking about in the hobby right now?
Hmm. That's a good that's a good question. Um, hmm. Should be talking about like just kind of stuff to look out for or like
Or
advice.
what's really changed in the last 10 years that you think could be detrimental for the hobby or really beneficial for the hobby? Like alternate arts are a great example. Like you could say alternate arts, I think, are the next best butter and bread. It's amazing. They've never done anything like that in Pokemon. They try to do something kind of like that with the alternate arts in Sun and Moon, but now they're really doing it. Um, that's a big stretch. A lot has happened in 10 years in the
Yeah.
franchise. And I
That
missed a lot of that mid stuff. That's why I'm interested in knowing like what happened with Black and White, what happened with Diamond Pearl. Why is it that it was really the same? Was it just age groups? We were all going to college or getting jobs or starting careers, and we just missed that stuff. Um,
it's interesting because like even though I didn't collect like the entire time, I paid attention and like I do find it funny that like people are like really stoked about Diamond and Pearl because hot take, that whole generation of cards sucked. Like I look back and I'm like, none of this is interesting. The hollows are whatever. The level X's are just lame EXs. Dude, I got some hot takes, man. And then like Black and White came out and like, dude, it ultra sucked. Like super bad. And
what you don't like the? I mean, there's got to be cards in Black and White that you like though, because
so
I have a good
funny
friend here,
enough,
Charlotte,
I
who's like obsessed with Black and White and Black and White and XY, and he's really adamant about it. Like he's a very calculated guy, very smart guy, and he's like the sets are just beautiful. They're super undervalued right now. It's almost like he's doing a stock market play where he's like
yeah.
this is what I want master sets of. So and he really likes the Black and White secret rare Pikachu. I don't know if you know what I'm talking about.
Yeah, it's got a texturing to it. It was the only good card in Black and White base. Sorry,
That's
man.
one
Hot
card that
take.
I have from Black and White.
Yeah. And then, so it's interesting X and Y gets love too, because so something that not a lot of people are talking about either is, they're like, oh, Paldea evolved or not Paldea evolved. Scarlet Violet sucks because like the biggest chase card is $50. But if you look at the set as a whole, it's got a $50 card in it. It's got a $30 card in it. It's got a couple $20 cards, couple $10, $15 cards. But like, dude, I was there when Fates Collide came out. And the most expensive card in the set was the secret rare Alakazam, and it was $20. like the most expensive card in the set. Nothing else was even over $10. And like nobody was really complaining at the time. They were just like, cool, new Pokemon. Like that was not a discussion that anybody like had. Was like, man, this set is undervalued. Like it didn't matter. Like people just wanted to open cards. And I find it interesting that just in 7 years, that's like a big like subject of debate. And it's like basically the entirety of Diamond Pearl when it was out, when it was in its prime, Black and White and X and Y, it didn't really have any expensive collectible cards in their time period, and nobody really batted an eye about it. So I don't really know why it's a thing now, because for years that like nobody really gave a crap. And something a lot of people don't want to say is the Shinings were really cheap at one point. I mean, in 2009, I was playing Yu-Gi-Oh, and I had in my cart on Troll and Toad a first edition Shining Raichu for 18 bucks. And I'm like, nah, I'm more into Yu-Gi-Oh right now, so I closed it out. But like that was definitely a thing. Like, but yeah.
Dude, I lose sleep thinking about your binder. I literally lose sleep thinking about it. I'm like, dude, it doesn't matter how much I have or like what I've collected. There's always going to be better collectors, but there's also always going to be people that just enjoyed the hobby when it wasn't that popular, and it's not just reaping the rewards, right? You don't really even care about selling your cards, but you get the benefit of just being like, oh my god, if I wanted to come back to collecting and I had a really high paying job now, I'm older and I want to collect Pokemon cards. No, I can't just get this stuff when I'm older and I have more money because it won't be attainable. I mean, it's
Yeah.
ridiculous. How do you get cards going for $18 to $2,000? I mean, I don't know what a first edition like PSA 10 Raichu goes for, Shining Raichu, but I'm sure it's got to at least be $1,000, 1,500, maybe 3K.
Yeah, it's probably like 3 or 4K. Like I think
It's just
raw it's probably 6 to 700. Like, and that's probably light play. Like, dude, it honestly like blows my mind because like in 2015, 2016, the stuff was hard for me to find. Like, I didn't just go online, TCG player, it might have been around, but I didn't use it. I had to really hunt around, like go to a bunch of shops, like dig around in boxes that nobody cared about. And like, even then the stuff wasn't in the best shape. I passed on a lot of stuff that I wish I wouldn't have. So I do have a lot of stories about stuff I missed out on as
report.
much as I got to. And I'll go into some of those because I was looking up my email recently, and what was it? So that Charizard EX that I bought. So I'll tell you, I'll tell you, bro. I paid $800 for that Charizard, but that guy is crisp. So in 2023, I'm more than happy to pay that for a raw card in that condition. But I have in my
Good for
email.
you, man. Good for you.
I have
Fuck it.
in my I have in my email a discussion I was having with a seller back in 2016 where I turned down an offer on a Charizard EX for $95. I tried to get it for 90, and the guy's like, 95 is the lowest I can go. And I'm like, nah, man, that's too much. And
Oh.
here I am, 7 years later, basically paying 7 times the amount. I found another one where, and it's crazy I even entertained this because sealed product for vintage is always overpriced, no matter how you slice it. Like, even then. And I found an email discussion. I was asking a guy about a sealed EX Dragon Frontier box, which is nuts because I've never been into sealed. And I turned down an offer for 2,500. But I mean, at the time, 2,500 was a fuck ton of money.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it still sounds like a fuck ton of money,
yeah, and
but
now it's like 25 grand. And it's just nuts to think
or
that like
50. I mean, it really depends who your buyer is. If you find a
yeah,
buyer who's really impressed with the condition, who believes it's authentic, I mean, sometimes I stress out if a deal is good, and that sucks because in this market, stuff is overpriced, and you're like, oh yeah, that's legit because it's really overpriced. It's but 2,500, yeah, I think several years ago, I would have been stressed out about doing something like that too. Um, is there a guaranteed hit in these older boxes? I've never even asked anybody that. I've never known it.
So
When did they start with the guaranteed secret rare? I do believe it's secret rare, right? I think it's
okay, so the first secret rare was the Dark Raichu, and
right. I know
I
that.
believe I I could be wrong on this, but I think it's treated as just any other holo. So your chance is just 1 in 3 booster packs, and then times I think, dude, we can count it later because I have them all. All the holos from that set. So it's basically one in every other box probably had a Raichu. And then they didn't do secret rares again
How is
until
Dark Raichu worth more? What is the deal with Dark Raichu? It's phenomenal. It's just because Raichu just isn't all that popular. I mean, even the Raichu in base set. What's the deal with Raichu? What's going on? I mean,
uh,
that's a vague question, right? But
yeah, I love the Dark Raichu. I don't know if you knew this. That was actually designed by Wizards of the Coast. That wasn't designed by like the Japanese. Yeah, the Dark Raichu, and it was actually an exclusive for Team Rocket, and then Japan later got it in Neo Discovery, in their Neo Discovery. Yeah.
okay.
Hold on one second. I need to get a phone charger. Hey, babe, can you get my phone charger? I did not plan for that. I was like, oh damn, I'm gonna be on my phone and my battery's probably gonna die.
Dude, I
I'm gonna keep
actually
I'm
I
gonna
did a
keep
lot.
talking, but go
That's
ahead.
why I limit it to an hour now because my phone literally has died during a live and it stressed me out because it was a live where I opened a tops pack, I pulled a Charizard. Um, I really, the old lives, I used to open one sealed vintage product. I used to always do that because it was really hype. I really wanted people to have a good time. But now I'm reflecting on how much debt I accrued, how much stuff I overpaid for, how much money I've spent just opening stuff. And I'm trying to maybe change, the channel direction and make it one more sustainable, but two also more interesting and maybe more relatable for everybody. I want to back up though. I want to back up and talk about Scarlet and Violet, how everyone's talking about like there's not a really expensive card in that set, um, in these sets. I want to say first off, even though I'm sure people have already beaten Scarlet and Violet, it's beating a dead horse. AVC, where do you think modern sealed product will be in 10 years? Oh man, that's a vague one too. I think everybody now in this hobby just likes to say it's all going up. I think it's a waiting game because I believe that history repeats itself, and now we're seeing kind of the same thing with the stock market hit the Pokemon market. We're seeing these really crazy numbers, and it's come down and simmered, but it's kind of leveling out. People are sitting with the average price they paid, and I don't think they're quite willing to give up. And I don't think it's ever going to get back down to. And there's inflation too. Um, I just wonder if those really nice grail cards could ever there's I don't think there's a chance that with how many people that are into the hobby and holding, I don't think there's a chance and all the foresight involved. I don't think there's a chance anybody's ever going to be selling all their grails to a point where we can ever find grails in the wild for like $100, $50, like the Charizard EX, that type deal. I don't think with inflation also taken into account, even those cards going down to like 150 or 200 when they're really like a 500 or $1,000 card. Do you think that's ever going to happen again? And then we'll go back to Scarlet Violet.
Dude, people have been talking about a crash since I've been collecting in 2015. It's never happened. There's two.
I think
There's
I feel
two.
that way.
There's way too
We're just
many. Like
late or unhappy about it.
it would basically take for Pokemon to die tomorrow, and then it would take the kids that grew up with it now to get bored of it in the next 20 years before it ever went down. And like, so that's the thing. It's so multi-generational that it's basically gonna stay around for like at least, and I'm not the first guy to say this. King Pokemon, Gary, he's been collecting forever. He's got probably the best
I know all
collection.
about him and his story, which it's a very whenever he talks about, and this is like conspiracy theory stuff, but whenever he talks about his cards and where they're located, somebody made a video on this, and that's probably why I'm a little biased on it because I ate up the video, but he's very open about where he keeps his cards, and he has it all in a storage locker. I mean, do you think if anything happened to those cards, he would actually get like an insurance payout for that? Or I mean, I people have said that that's not a thing in Pokemon cards, but I'm sure there are people that insure, like high end first
Oh
edition
yeah.
PSA
No,
10 card.
knowing him, he would get paid out. But I brought him up because he talked about in like some video where somebody's like, "Hey, are you ever worried about it dying out?" And he legit said it would take like basically 20 to 30 years after it's totally kaput to ever die out, because it takes that generation that grew up with it to basically grow out of it for that to happen. And I see it with, because I don't just collect Pokemon, like I got a ton of video games too. And like it's kind of a similar thing. Like Atari 2600 was really huge at one point, but it didn't pertain to the younger generation. So once that older generation bought everything they wanted, it died because there wasn't a younger generation to pick it up. But as long as that longevity happens, there's nothing that can really cause it to go down. I mean, you're going to have little dips and dives here and there, but like you're never going to see like Rayquaza Gold Star like go for $180 ever again. Like it's just too iconic. There's too many people that collect it. And it's too rare. Like, and then you got more Pokemon fans born every day. I mean, my coworkers' kids are into it and they're only like 5, you know. Like
Yeah. Um, yeah, I've started collecting. I have a bunch of SPs. I got obsessed with collecting the colors, the SPs, the advances,
oh dude, I
a
got like
modded
5 of them
all
like
the
over from
Pokemon
somewhere.
games. But I do wonder, like, even if people are modding these and they're cool and they're fun, the thing with Pokemon cards is the cards. The card, it's not an electronic. It's a piece of paper. It's art, and I can say that. My parents are artists. I really look at Pokemon cards as a preserved painting. I mean, literally, it's especially if they're slabbed. That's something that I don't know if that's ever happened with artwork, with paintings. Putting a painting in a massive, yeah, putting a painting in a massive plexiglass. Yeah, I'm sure high end collectors have done stuff like that, but it's like the Pokemon cards, the idea of collecting those, it's so user friendly. Anybody can do it. It's one thing for people to be competitive and play the game, but literally anybody and their mother can come into Pokemon and start collecting. And I think the hobby is really open. Obviously, there's gatekeeping in this hobby. There's people that are like, "You've only been in the hobby for a couple of years. You have no idea what you're talking about." And you're gonna have that. I've had that. I've had to learn that there's just a ton of stuff that I still don't know. Um, but I really do think it's very user friendly, and it's a really great community. And I think it's tapered off a little bit, but I think that just has to do with the fact that it was crazy during the pandemic. No one had anything to do, and the streamers were raking it all in. All the streamers on all the platforms, they were making money, they were having fun. We were all stuck in our house, bored with nothing to do, and it was working for them. And that's part of the reason I got into YouTube, because I was like, we were inside and we had nothing to do, and I was thinking about my childhood, and like all those things spun into a perfect storm. But I think Scarlet and Violet is going to do a great job bringing people in, and of course 151. Yo, what up, Garrett? But 151 has all these amazing original Pokemon, so that's going to be great for the old heads. But the new people really can come into the hobby and enjoy Scarlet, Violet, Base, and Paldea. The pull rates being amazing, getting a holo in every pack. They're learning something from Japanese. Um, but I still think the pull rates were tough. I opened 3 ETBs. I really got nothing until I got the Magikarp. So, and thank God I pulled that card.
I don't
I,
have that yet, man. I'm actually
it's so
jelly.
beautiful. It's such a beautiful card.
Yeah.
Um, but another thing is that I want to say is, guys, I've only opened 3 ETBs, and my Scarlet Violet Paldea binder is like pretty full. It feels good. I'm missing secrets, obviously. I'm missing the 60 cards that are all equally hard to pull. Um, that's like my biggest gripe with Pokemon right now. But yeah, to say that cards aren't like worth enough, I just keep thinking about that and thinking like, no, it's still a lot of money. It's still a lot of money. And there are ways around it. With the ETBs, you can sell your promos, then you sell your bulk that you have left for like $5, whatever your local LGS could buy that for. Now you've chopped off, a quarter of your total cost or a fifth of your total cost for the ETBs. The same that you could do with the booster boxes. Maybe you get some duplicates of cards. Like there are ways to really streamline opening modern product. I just think people don't talk about it enough. How to be like super sustainable collector. Like when I first got back into the hobby, really Sword and Shield, Sun and Moon, I slept out on, and I regret that because I was busy collecting old stuff. Um, and now Sun and Moon is of course doing really well, and I'm gonna have to pay a premium to collect all those cards. But like great advice right now, and I said it in the last video that I did, was just every set, give it a shot, open some product, even if you don't like the set. Because if that set is kind of cool and becomes a little bit more popular down the road, you'll be happy that you can at least be like, I cracked this set. And Scarlet Violet right now, hollow, so you're gonna get hollow every pack. So you're gonna complete all the basic hollows, which is like the meat of your binder, right? You're getting all your commons, uncommons. The reverses look really good when they're all on top of every, I don't set separate reverse slots. I do reverse over my regular. So my whole binder is just shiny, for these newer sets. And I love that. I
Oh yeah.
absolutely love it. And they said the MSRP was going to go up, and that didn't even hold. You're just buying the boxes online by the case for $100 a box, basically 103. And I think that's pretty good too. But the 160 MSRP, I don't know if it's just me, but it just seems like foreshadowing. Like that's the price. They're bringing it down, I think, but they've set that price, which sets a precedent. It says that even they believe, I feel like, that the boxes are going to be out the gate, even buying by a case, like 160 a box. Can you imagine? Like 900 for whatever set just to buy a case of it? Like, where is this hobby going? How are people going to afford it? That's what scares me, is the price of, buying, larger quantities like that. I, I don't know. I'm going into rant mode.
No, it's all good. That's the whole point of these. I was gonna say, like, you make a good point about like being able to open it when it's a thing, because like I mentioned the 2017 Shinings from the Shining Legends set. Like
I
I
need to get
love, dude, don't sleep on those, man.
I
They are
know they're
super
like
cool.
30 a pop right now. Like, and they could be the next Shinings.
Dude,
And we're talking about it now.
dude, I have a play set of all of them, and I was paying $1 a piece.
Oh man.
And dude, and people were sleeping on it. So when it came out, I'm like, well, I love the original Shinings. So I opened the fuck out of that set because I wanted to say, at least I opened them when it was a thing. And then I just bought the ones I didn't pull.
Was Shining Legends a special set, or was it
Yeah,
just
it was a
it
special
was?
set. Yeah.
Do you
And
know
the
how
cool,
that special set's running right now?
so the ETB, which were $49.99, which I opened 12 of them, by the way. And I know that because I have 12 of the Ho-Oh promos in my binder. Um, it
Beautiful promo.
Oh, dude, I love it. And I had 10 packs in it. I think they're $400 now.
Wow.
And I have down here, I have this ultra premium collection that they did for it. And this box was huge. Like it had like, oh man, I can't get the camera right, but it had like, I don't know, 10 packs in it. And it had the Celebi, the Lugia, and then it had this box with these like giant like ETBs
Whoa.
in it. And that was $90. It also had a little Ho-Oh figure too. And now I think those are several $100s, and I opened 2 of them.
So you were collecting vintage and finding deals on older grails, but at the same time you were also keeping up with the newer sets, and you were still shelling out money like anybody else to buy this stuff.
Well, so kind of. So I took a break. So all right. Well, yeah, we never finished like my original thought how I got collecting again as like an adult. We went on a tangent, which I love. Um, so in 20, so I always had my childhood collection, and it was like bits and pieces of it. Like in like 2001, I randomly watched Pokemon the movie 3, and I was like, man, Pokemon Gen 2 is still pretty lit. and I bought like maybe 15 packs of various Neo sets, and I actually opened two Shinings. I got the Shining Mewtwo and Tyranitar. Sadly, I do not have those copies anymore because when I upgraded them to first edition, I let them go for like barely anything, man. It's kind of sad. We'll talk about that later.
Oh,
Um,
hold that
but
thought.
yeah.
Hold that thought. I'll be right back.
Hey everyone. Probably not.
This is a little bit juicier than I had expected. I am really loving this, man. This was
Yeah,
a
yeah,
really great, just on the fly idea. I was like, I don't know how I feel about doing this. Okay, so
yeah.
continue.
All right. So I had that, and then and then I fell out of it for a while, and then we moved. My parents were military, so in 2003 we moved to South Carolina. And my neighbor, who he's probably about your age now, because he was at least like 4 years younger than me, and he was fucking all about Ruby and Sapphire. But at this point, like, I didn't really give Gen 2 very much love, and I didn't like by the time Gen 3 came out, like, look, I love it now. Honestly, Gen 3 is probably the height. But like at the time, like me and my friends are kind of like, we don't really want to deal with these new Pokemon. And we were getting into Yu-Gi-Oh! And so we
It
kind of
was
got out of it, but he was really into it. And then when Fire Red Leaf Green came out, I was like, well, dang, this is my calling. So I got back into it for a little bit. And then I bought a handful of packs from the EX era. And I didn't hit any gold stars or anything, but I had a couple EXs. And I do remember those sets were really fun to open because you could get double hits in them because your reverse hollow could be a rare, and then it would get that gold, like they call it a gold stamp now, where it had
dude,
the set name.
dude, people love those now. The crystal. I still don't have the Crystal Guardians Charizard, but that one
Yeah,
almost better in the
dude,
reverse.
they were awesome, and you could also get an EX in the same pack, and it was like, man, this is cool. So I had kind of a hodgepodge of stuff throughout the years, and then I never got rid of anything. And then I played Diamond and Pearl, the games, like religiously in high school when that came out, but I didn't collect the cards. I bought Diamond and Pearl base, and I was like, yo, man, this is trash. It's actually funny because, like, dude, like a
Love
couple
that.
weeks ago, I found the actual pack that I opened from Diamond and Pearl, like tucked away in my closet, and I hit a Hollow Star Raptor in it, and I was like, dude, I forgot all about this. Like, and my wife, she likes all the cute cards, so she's like going through it. She's like, I'm taking that Star Raptor. I'm like, go for it, because I didn't remember that I had any of that. And then Black and White came out. I wasn't really doing too much. And then X and Y came out, and I did play that game on release, and I was all about it, but I didn't quite get into the cards yet. So we'll kind of fast forward to like 2015. Like, I'm aware of the Gold Stars being a card, and I'm obviously aware of the Shinings because I had the Mewtwo and the Tyranitar as a kid. And so I was always like, man, it'd be cool to finish that set. And I'm at a friend's house, and he's like, hey, my girlfriend has her cards if you want to go through it and see if there's anything crazy. And I go through it really quick. I'm just like, man, this is all trash. Like, I go through it really quick. And then afterwards, I'm like, you know what cards I want to collect? These. And I showed her Gold Star Mew. And she's like, I have that. That's in that binder. And I'm like, yo, no way, because I just went through that and it was trash. And we went through it, and sure enough, the Gold Star Mew, beautiful condition, because it was pulled straight from a pack, put into this binder. And dude, I swear to you, I was like, I'm not leaving this house without this card. $50. And they're like, sold, sold. And like that was like, okay, well, I told my wife girlfriend at the time, I was like, I'm going for the rest of these gold stars, and then by extension, I want to get the shinings. So I started doing a lot of hunts regarding those, and eventually my horizons kind of like expanded. I was like, well, maybe I'll get all the Wizards of the Coast hollows, and I just focused on the bangers. I was like, I don't really have space for a ton of bulk. I'll just get the hollows. And a lot of stuff I bought was like a mix of online, of hunting stores. But the best deal I ever got was I found a seller on eBay that had a bunch of like, and at this point I was not going for first editions at all. And they had a bunch of first editions from Team Rocket, and they were cards I didn't even have at all. And I was like, well, dang, maybe I can message them and get a bundle deal on these. And dude, my MO, like this is like what I did at the time. I'd find a seller that had a shit ton of stuff I wanted. I'd message them. I would be very cryptic and have my email in the message and like move off of eBay and get an even better deal. Like, because we would just go through PayPal and they would save like 10% on fees. And so we did that. I was able to cryptically put my email in a message like, I did like my email, like exclamation point, yahoo.com. And then I was like the exclamation point equals at, and like it won't flag it in eBay because it's not a real address you put in there. So they emailed me and we worked out on a deal. I can't remember what it was exactly. It was like, a bunch of stuff from Gym Heroes, Gym Challenge, and Team Rocket, nothing crazy, but it was all first edition. And they told me in an email, they're like, well, hey, we have a boatload of hollows from the vintage sets. Send me a list of cards that you want. And I'm like, well, what does that mean? Because like, I want a lot of shit. And so I sent like, okay, well, I'm looking, if they have stuff, I may as well just see what they have from Jungle, Fossil, like everything. And they were like, cool. They had like 90% of it. And then they were like, anything else you're looking for? And I was like, well, let's just do a Hail Mary and let's just say Expedition, Aquapolis, and Skyridge and see what happens. Bro, like 80% of those sets. And two of them were the Crystal Charizard and the Crystal Celebi. And I have screenshots to confirm this. I got the entire lot for $1,400. But like the stuff in the lot, dude, Crystal Charizard, Crystal Celebi Hollow, Crystal Lugia, which was my second Crystal Lugia at the time, Crystal Nidoking,
You can
Crystal.
one PSA 8 Crystal Lugia for 1,400. That's what you're getting for 1,400 today.
Dude, that's what I'm saying.
Not more.
Yeah. And it was most of Expedition Hollows, like 31 of them. And I think I already had the other one already. And then it was like 20 hollows from Aquapolis, like 18 or 19 from Skyridge, which includes the Umbreon. And like they broke it down per price of the card, and the Umbreon was like, dude, it was like $20. Like, and even in 2016, it was like unreal. And like it was such a big like collection to get that one of my friends, like, he had a competitive nature to him. He stopped collecting. He was like, bro, I'm out. Like that destroyed his soul, which honestly kind of tells that he wasn't really quite as into it as I thought he was. But like that tapped me out for like a hot minute. I think I finished getting it's actually kind of a goof on my part because I picked up the Crystal Golem from another seller, and I think I paid $60 for that. But the last two I needed were the Ho-Oh and the Kabutops, I think. And like it honestly, the goof worked itself out in the coming years. But like I offered him a bundle deal on both of them. But what I didn't realize is because he was based out of Europe, that I thought I was offering him dollars because I'm like, well, could you do 300? And he's like, yeah, of course I could do 300. 300 euros, which ended up being more than he wanted for the cards individually. But I was like, at that point, I was like, well, fuck it. They're really meant, so I'm gonna go for it. But like at the time, it was like, dude, I like way overpaid and it worked out. Like, so I guess that's like some advice too, is like, if you overpay, like it's okay. As long as you're okay with it, like eventually it'll work its way out. But like, I thought it was hilarious that like, I thought I was offering him dollars. And, of course he was like, oh, fuck yeah, I'll take it. And I was like, dude, I literally just offered him more than he wanted. Like, what an idiot I was. And I didn't realize it until I'm going to check out. And I'm like, yo, why is it like 150 more than I thought? I'm like, oh, the fucking conversion rate. Like I offered him euros. I didn't offer him dollars.
Oh, man. Well, I think with collections, it's if you're buying collections like and you pay a little bit more, I think it's okay in the long run because I think your cost basis there is still going to be a lot better. Like
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
I traded in. Yo, what's up, Market Scraper? And what's up, guys? Thank you guys for coming out to this live. Hopefully, you're finding it entertaining. Um, I've traded in a bunch of my Brilliant Stars and Evolving Skies and just all the sets that I opened last year. A bunch of that bulk today, and I picked up a an Expedition Golem and a Flygon from EX Dragon. Really aren't worth that much, but
But they look thick.
yeah, they do look sick. What was my I can't even remember why that was relevant. I can't remember why that was relevant. I had a point that I was gonna. Uh,
Something to do with like, cost and like paying. And it's like if you're okay with it in the moment.
but yeah, when I sold it to them, I'm sure I'm overpaying a little bit now, but those could be potentially $35, $40 cards a piece. I think I paid like $23 for each of them, which I felt pretty good. Okay. Now I know what I'm saying. Now I know what I'm saying. In comparison to the massive lot I bought 2 days ago from a buddy here that was full of, if you saw it, the full
Yeah.
arts, the alternate arts, the V's, the rainbows, everything in there. I was definitely like, I even texted him. I was like, dude, I have, and that's something I want to talk about on this live. I was like, dude, I have major, major buyer's remorse. Like, it's not about market price. It's not about if I got a good deal or not. It goes beyond that. I'm just like, I know that I need the money right now more than I need the cards. And I still did that. Like I still self-sabotaged myself and had to buy all these cards. But then today I traded in my bulk and I used that towards buying these two cards that were $23 each. And I thought, man, you really in the long run are not going to do bad on that massive lot you bought because right here you're in a store paying 23 bucks a piece. Now granted, those two cards were not only sick but they were mint condition. They had them. I think I have a new favorite shop here. So and you could check them out potentially. They had a lot of cool stuff in there. Nothing that I've ever seen like that in Charlotte before. um, but and they also serve drinks there, which I was like blown away. I was like, you guys are doing it all. You're doing game nights, you're selling Pokemon, Magic, doing Warhammer, and you guys are slinging wine and beer. That's nuts. Um, but yeah, the shop is called I think it's called Mighty Meeple. One of my subscribers and my buddies here in Charlotte told me about them to sell my bulk to them. But yeah, really fantastic. Highly recommend checking out Mighty Meeple. It's in Concord. But they have a glass case and they just took cards in like 3 weeks ago. Glass case full of OG beauty. They had a couple gold stars in there too that my buddy said
Damn.
his buddy bought for a pretty good price. And like they list their cards as LP when really they're mint. And that's so refreshing because when you're buying stuff online, you are doing the roulette. You have no idea what you're really getting into. And I had a lot of buyer's remorse buying cards online. Whereas when I bought that big stack from him, it was a lot of money up front. It was a lot of cash up front. But in the end, I'm like, but my cost basis is still $4 a card. And no matter what, it's $4 a card, whether it's for the alternate or the V. And those Vs one day could be in like 5, 10 years, maybe worth $4 a piece. And then it's all justified because then I got those and the alts, and the rainbows, all that for the same price, and all those could go up a lot. Um, there's all this growth in modern, and back to one of the subs questions: where do you think modern will be in the next 10 years? That's a really good vague question. Um, and I feel like we could definitely touch up on that a little bit more. It was vague, so I was kind of like, I mean, I think it's all going to go up, but like, let's touch up a little bit more on that because I know we've got a lot of people in here who are just getting back into the hobby or have gotten back in a couple years ago, like me. And you can see their comments, right?
Yeah, they pop up when somebody puts
Yeah,
one.
so if you guys want to ask him any questions too, but we're just the only thing I wanted to touch base on again was modern because I know a lot of people can relate to that, and there's a lot of people that collect that just aren't worried about collecting WotC or gold stars or grail. That's just the price range is just it's so far out
Yeah.
of what people can do. So what
I
do we think about
yeah.
modern? Where's that going?
So I do have theories about this, and me and my coworkers have talked about this. Like, what a lot of people don't realize is like the chase cards for us as a kid, like we're currently seeing what the chase cards for kids growing up now are going to be when they're an adult. So like you think that the, alternate art Moonbryon's expensive now, but like when some kids 25 and it was the card they could never get when they were 5 years old, like that's going to be like these are those alternate arts are going to be the cards that they're going to want to go after. They're, you know,
I can
the
see
ones
that
who,
being like $5,000 card so easily. I can
yeah,
see it. A mint 10, or maybe like a BGS 10 in the next like 10 years. But everybody has that card. Everybody loves that card. But that doesn't mean just because everybody has it doesn't mean that it's not just going to keep going up in value. Because you've got really successful kids that are now, like you said, they're older. They're working a really good six-figure job, and they don't care what it costs. And I think that's gonna
exactly.
be happening. The nostalgia is just running that market.
And so like with Paldea Evolved, like, stuff like, like I have over here, like I'm gaining up all the like alternate arts. Like you might not think Chin Pal's cool, but some 5-year-old kid, that's his favorite freaking Pokemon. And in 20 years, pull rates don't matter when the shit's 10, 15 years out of print. And those are gonna be the cards that they go after. The cards that are sleepers, the cards that they grew up with, they might not necessarily have the same attachment to first edition Charizard that we do. And so the important thing is diversify. Like kind of get a little bit of the new stuff because when it's new, it's cheap. And then get a little bit of the old stuff that you grew up with too, because that's what you're really passionate about. But like, don't, you know, don't lose focus of your goals, but like it's okay to deviate a little bit. Like some of this stuff you can invest in and it's not really that big of a deal. And it's sick. Like the artworks are awesome. So it's like cool, Arctibax, he's not really my favorite, but like, dude, this artwork is
Dude,
fucking
that
awesome.
artwork is insane.
Yeah.
It really is. Like, and these things can grow on us, and the nostalgia. Like in 2 or 3 years, we could look back on these sets and be like, these were kind of bangers. And it's easier to say that when the sealed box, when there's so many less of them, and that sealed box has also hit 300, 200, 400, whatever. That justifies a lot of the cards. They just go up together. The cost of the singles going up changes the cost of the box, but then the sealed box itself, those always just seem to do so well and
Dude,
outpace everything.
if frickin' XY Evolutions boxes are 700-800 bucks, anything will go up. That set was printed to oblivion. And it doesn't matter. I saw a Primal Clash. No, Primal Clash. It was an XY set. Primal Origins. My local shop had a sealed booster box. It was 900 bucks. Like, bro, that set's trash. Like, the fact that only like 7 years later, it's like 900 bucks. It's like, dude, any set will gain value if that set is almost 9 times what it was new. And that set does not really have like any like valuable bangers in it that I know of.
I've heard this just talked about a lot. That's often been referenced. If XY can be, and I paid 700 for my XY box, my XY Evolutions box. So I'm one of those people definitely contributing to keeping those prices higher. But if people like me are like, I don't care. The fact that that box could have a Charizard in it, even if that Charizard in like a 9 is worth like 80 bucks, whatever, and a 10 is still only worth like 2 or 300, or maybe more than that. The XY Charizard could be worth a lot more in a 10. I really don't know.
Yeah, I'm
Um,
not
but
sure.
just that fact alone makes the XY Evolutions box look really good to me. But yeah, I've heard a lot of people talk about that and say that it was terrible, that it was thrown into all these products, and they just could not get rid of these XY packs. Um, what's your favorite? What's your favorite Pokemon in? What's your favorite cards, artworks in Scarlet Violet base?
The Gardevoir, like 100%, is my favorite card in the set, and so is the Miriam.
And does it have anything to do with cost value? Like if the Corydon was a $200 or $300 card potentially, and it was really really more texturized than it is, do you think that your opinion would be different, or are you like, no, I like the waifu, need the Miriam, and I like the Gardevoir. It's just the artwork is just so good on that card. I'm
You
not
know,
even a huge fan of Gardevoir, and I had to trade my buddy for it. I was like, I need that. I need
it's
that card.
it's such a beautiful card. So I collect a lot of stuff just based on art. Like it doesn't even have to be valuable. Like right now I'm going after the textured trainer gallery cards. And as you can see, I paid, $4 for this Urshifu, but it's fucking awesome. So like it doesn't really matter if it was $100 card. Like if it's really cool, then I say pick it up. Yeah, Miriam could be like right now, like Iono is the most expensive card in Paldea Evolve, but like my favorite card is the Dendra, and it's only $25. But like it doesn't really matter. And arguably I really like the boss's order, and this card's like $20. Of course I want Iono, but like it wasn't my chase card. It was actually Dendra.
I'm like, I don't know if it's because I have a bearded dragon and I'm just like low key really on the lizard vibe right now. But when I saw that it was Corydon from playing Switch, and maybe it was just because I was like, I've been playing Switch. Meridon is I've been riding him around in the game the whole time. So it was like, oh my god, these are going to be such great promos and such great alternate arts. But now I just traded for Corydon. I finally have it. I traded it for $20 worth of
It,
other
dude,
cards I traded for. I think I traded
it's a
Hound,
beautiful card.
M Houndoon XY, which she said was worth 15, and I believe that. Um, and then two other black and white regular hollows. But I was just like, this is weird. The fact that Corydon is like a $20 card makes no sense to me. And that's just a perfect card in my opinion. I look at that card and I'm like, I see $100 card here at least. And I love this artwork. I should be buying multiples of this card, even if no one is like talking about the Corydon EX and Scarlet Violet base is so epic. Like no one's pumping it up, and I'm just like, I really, really like this card. So I think people should definitely buy what they like. And then it could be really validating and rewarding down the road if that card does appreciate, on top of the fact that you just like it. So you buy multiple copies. Um, yeah.
Scarlet Scarlet Violet is the strongest base set that we've probably ever seen.
Yeah. If Sword and Shield can be a $300 box right now, like a $200 box, even at the low point, Scarlet and Violet has so much potential. And I bought
Dude,
4 cases of it. So I am a little bit biased. Um, well, now almost 5, so I keep saying 5, but I just kept buying a couple more boxes as Paldea came out because I was like, I feel like Scarlet and Violet is going to have a lot of potential because it's the first of the silver border sets. I'm really a lot on the silver border. What is that?
That's the Dendra. I just happen to have one near me. Kind of bad, but yeah, this card is fucking awesome, dude. Like Iono's cool, but like as far as like anime girls go, like this is the best one in the set, and it's only $20 right now. I have two of them. And if it doesn't go up, that's cool because I like how it looks.
What's your favorite cards in Paldea Evolved?
I don't have it yet, but the Skeledirge, I'm really, really a big fan of. The Iono, of course. Let me see if I have it here.
Why do you
Um,
like Skeledirge? Is it the artwork or is it the Pokemon that you're like, "Hey, this Pokemon's growing on me a lot?
Dude, that was my starter in the game, man. So I definitely have some attachment to it. And he's in the game, he's OP. So people are gonna remember as like, yo, Skeledirge was one of the best starters ever. And dude, the artwork is amazing. Like on top of that,
The artwork is definitely growing on me. I got him to Crocolore, and then I just quit. I was like, Crocolore looks so stupid. I can't with this Pokemon. I have to trade him in and run like a Pikachu, which Pikachu is terrible. He is so bad. He is just a mascot as far as playing Scarlet Violet. I mean, maybe it's just me, but I could not. I gave him the Everstone. I didn't want him to evolve. And then I kept playing with Pikachu and hoping if I had XP share on it that he would do well. But Pikachu just wasn't working out for me. Maybe I should have Skeledirge. And I could still swap it out for Skeledirge because I'm like halfway through the game. But So in Paldea Evolved, Skeledirge is like your top pick. What's your second top pick?
Probably the Meowscarada. I really think Meowscarada
Really?
looks cool. Yeah. And that whole line is awesome. The Sprigatito, and I don't have either one of those right now. I didn't pull it. I don't pick up singles from a set until it's at least like a month and a half old. So that's another like advice I have is like, don't get FOMO. It always goes down every time. Historically, the only card that kind of stands the test against that is the Giratina is selling for more than it was on pre-release, but like that usually isn't the case. Everything goes down. Don't get FOMO. Don't pay
What
$80 for Magikarp. It'll
what is
be $20 soon.
what is I do believe that the '80s kind of crazy, but Magikarp that's really beautiful artwork, and if it's really hard for people to pull, they'll keep paying for it. Um, the Giratina, I didn't have any attachment to the Giratina, but I do wish that I would have just bought it for 200 because now it's a $300 card all day.
I think I paid 260, but I do love Giratina, so I was like, oh, let me go ahead and get this. I don't really think it's gonna go down. I know people think that this Lost Origins, reprint is gonna do much to it, but the problem is the pull rate of that card is so low, and this reprint is gonna be very minimal that you're probably not really gonna see that many flooding the market like you think.
And I
Um,
highly doubt anybody selling their booster boxes is going to go, oh, there's a reprint. Let me drop this $10 so that I can get more. No, they're going to sit on their stuff. It's going to be the same price, and it might take longer to move. So then,
exactly.
where does the product go? I feel like the product is just like it's already been validated. The boxes are selling for 140, 150. So when people get the reprint, the boxes are still going to be 140, 150. But there'll be more for people to grab if they want to go in for seconds. The price will stay what it is instead of jumping.
Yeah.
Um, Um, Obsidian Flames. What are your thoughts on Obsidian Flames?
So far, I'm liking what I'm seeing. I do think that Charizard we saw, even if it's not fake, people aren't really paying attention to the fact that it's a. I'll put it in the shot. Like this gold card is a hyper rare triple. It's got the triple gold stars on the bottom. That Charizard that got leaked is a triple gold star. So it's only a gold version of the full art. It's not the special illustration. So I think when that actually gets revealed, people are going to change their tune and they're going to be like, okay, well, this is lit because nobody chases the full art. So it's like, even if that was real, like that's not going to be the detriment of the set. I think they're going to do that set very well. I'm excited for it. I try to stay excited for all the sets because it kind of keeps me hype. I don't know how hard I'm gonna go on it. I at least try to do like 3 or 4 booster boxes when a set comes out, and I know I'm gonna lose money, but like you said before, I like the feeling of opening it, or say that I opened it when it was irrelevant.
Do you ever buy like a case of a set, or are you like, no, that's too much? I'm overextending there. I would rather keep saving my money, and just buy what I want to open, and that's that.
My dream is to open a case of something. I've never pulled the trigger. Um, I haven't seen a set that I liked enough to want to do a case of, but it's definitely on the in the future. I definitely want to do a case of something.
I know, me too. Me too. I basically opened a case of Brilliant Stars, but I did it like a freaking noob. I went to like every Target because right now Pokemon was crazy. You couldn't get stuff anywhere. People were going in, scalping, cleaning everything out, myself included. But I wanted to open everything. But I was going into stores paying $4.50, $5 a pack all day for Sword and Shield packs at Walmart, at Target, at GameStop, and I got so punished for it because I got nothing. It was the biggest lesson I'll probably ever have in this hobby is like just go with the cost basis. If you're going to open 3 boxes, still buy that case because those other 3 boxes you could flip down the road, cover yourself. And it's not a scalping mentality. It's just I just want to sustain collecting. Like, how do you even, how do you even justify the money that you spent on the booster boxes? Because, 3 boxes, that's still at the very lowest 300, at a little higher at 110 a box, 120 a box after tax. That's $400. How do you like justify that?
No, you're absolutely right. And I try to tell my friend that because like every like other night he's going out and he's buying an ETB and he's not really getting the best pulls. Sometimes he does. And I'm like, dude, you need to quit fucking around and just get a box. Like you're gonna get way more packs, you're gonna get a way better hit ratio as like you're spending the same amount of money. It just doesn't seem like it because you're doing it in smaller increments. But yeah, you're absolutely right. Like
And
every
I bought a
time.
case of the ETBs, and then I opened them, and y'all saw those first two ETBs. I got destroyed. And even buying a case, that was $70 plus, and then tax. So maybe let's call it $80 or $75 down the drain. That last ETB, I got lucky, but I think I'm scared a little bit to keep opening them because I'm like, I don't know if I believe like a myth that like ETBs have good pulls. No, ETBs have promos. Otherwise, you sell your promo. It's the same cost basis as a booster box, but that booster box gives you the guarantee. Um, yeah,
ETBs are
I don't know how I feel about the ETBs, but I will say this to anybody who hasn't bought a Paldea Evolved ETB yet. I will say having 3 of these bad boys looks so lit. It's so lit. Like I think this card in the cellophane is just gonna age so well. Like I have no doubt about it. So, and that's also why I bought a bunch. I bought 15 blisters of Scarlet Violet base instead of opening any of my boxes. I was like, I'm gonna try other products while keeping the traditional sealed boxes as an investment. I'm gonna try other products so I can learn. I've done retail. I've picked up sleeve packs. I've had terrible luck. Okay, done. Learned lesson. Bought the blisters, opened 15 blisters. I have 15 Arcanine promos that are beautiful, but I got nothing else out of that. I think I got no, what did I? Oh, I got the Gyarados. I got the Gyarados, which is I think a $50 card or a 40, maybe even a $30 card right now. The Gyarados full art and Scarlet Violet base. And a lot of people were hyped, but I was like, yo, I have 225 in these 15 blisters. I got destroyed on this. Um, I still have yet to open up a box recently of the set. I opened a box of Silver Tempest. I did open that for the channel, and I regretted that one too. So far across the board, I have not had good hits with a single product that I've opened. So at the very least, I'm like, just get the boxes because then you have cost basis. That's the only guarantee that you have there. But I will say the Obsidian Flames, the Charmander on the glass, that promo, who knows what could happen with that promo down the road. That promo is so exceptional. It's such good artwork. Got the Pidgey hanging out in there. Um, what's I didn't even think about this, but what's the promo gonna be in 151?
I think it's a Snorlax. I think it's a Snorlax promo. I don't think that they've
That's gonna
announced.
Oh yeah, because the Snorlax is on the box. Okay, that was a stupid question because we see Miraidon and Corridon on the base boxes.
Yeah,
You've got Charmander on the Obsidian. I don't even know what I'm saying right now.
I
Um,
believe I believe it's the illustration rare from Japanese 151. It's going to be a promo in the ETB.
it's gonna be such a banger. And it's just so consumer driven though. How are people, especially my age, you're in your 20s, you might have a house, you might be paying rent, but you've got bills, you've got serious bills. How are people managing? How are they going to manage the and we'll wrap up here in about 5 minutes and take some questions. If anybody has questions, try to address those. But
Oh,
I
did you
really
still want to see the collection? Did you still want to see some of the collection?
I do want you can start going to grab that stuff for everybody and myself to enjoy.
I'm gonna
Um,
set the phone down, but I'm listening.
but I want to talk more about the financial aspects of collecting and consumerism, and maybe get real with everybody that like, yeah, I'm a passionate collector. I also want to invest. I also want to make a little bit of money potentially. But I constantly think about where that money could be parked, how it could be working for me, how it could make my life more ease, more peace of mind by just having the money and being happy with what I have. This is something that my good friend that collects here, that has a really banger Gold Star 9 collection, a PSA 9 Gold Star collection. It's banger. It's insane. And he's constantly just teaching me how to be a better collector. And one thing he's preaching is like, dude, just be happy with what you have. You've got to learn to be happy with what you have. You've got too much, you need to trim it, and you need to be happy with like a couple things that you have. And that's something that's really tough for me, but I think it's really could be helpful for people collecting now that feel the pain of spending their entire check on, a couple products. It's brutal. It's brutal, the cost of everything, and it's not, you don't have to buy a case, and you don't have to buy a case of boxes or ETBs, but you do if you want to pull a decent spread of cards or even complete the set. It's just not sustainable for people to have to spend $600 to $1,000 every set to complete that set. It's like a guarantee for Pokemon. Every every 3 months or every 4 months, we're gonna end up draining a bunch of people for $1,000 each. Basically, like it's a lot.
Okay, I got it ready. So the first few pages aren't really too exciting because I didn't go very hard on base set. But I do have all the hollows from base set. And I do have some bangers. I got the Shadowless Charizard.
So is you strictly collected the hollows? It's easier to track it down. It's less fluff. It's less space. It's less weight. Do you have any sets that are like fully that are older that have the commons uncommons reverse?
I am close to a couple because earlier this year I did start going back and getting the non hollows, and I have to tally it up. I can show off what I have for those too,
That's
but
the
I was
part.
yeah,
That's the easy part. I mean,
yeah. Well, my local shop had a bunch of it, and it was all first edition, and so I have a ton of first edition non hollows. I'm close to Jungle, Fossil, and Neo Genesis. I'm really close on, but
you should.
Neo Destiny is
The first sets are so small. You got to complete those.
yeah, they're like 64 cards. I do have the first ed Shadowless Machamp. I picked this up recently. Got the Shadowless Magneton, and this thing is crisp. It's in really good shape, but everything else is nothing too crazy. I do have the
Atlas
Shadow.
Charizard stick.
I got it for $50.
Oh man.
Shadowless Mewtwo. I got that for $5. It was in a 10 and under bin, like with a bunch of unlimited ones too.
A 10 and
Um,
under bin, is that like a garage sale?
no, it's like a lot of comic stores around here. They do like bins of cards that are 10 and under. Like they're all sleeved, but they only put like the $10 and up in the case, and then they'll just sleeve stuff, and they'll literally put it in like an ETB for you to just like sift through.
So this
And
wasn't recently. This had to have been years ago because even a shadowless Mewtwo is going for like 40, $50 if it's clean.
yeah, that was in 2016. But even then, it was worth, $20 compared to the regular one, which was five. But they had it bunched up with the other ones, so they didn't know. Um, Things start getting more exciting here. So we get into jungle. I have the pre-release Clefable. This card is insanely rare. All the other pre-release cards are pretty cheap. But when I bought this, a local comic store had it, and we couldn't even find how much it was worth at the time. So he said, "Well, just throw me an offer," and I was like, $50, and he's like, "Sold." And I think it's like 500 or 600 now. Um, yeah, that this card is insanely rare. Like this green font. Yeah, you see the green font pre-release. Yeah,
Oh yeah,
this
I see it.
it's insanely rare. And then I kind of have them in order. So I got the first ed. Most of these are first edition after this. Clefable. We got the
And
electric.
those are still relatively cheap. I found the Jolteon, the Flareon, and a couple of the other ones, the Nidoqueen. I found those and bought them locally off people. I bought this girl's huge collection for $300, and it was actually a really good deal because there's a pretty much mint Japanese Charizard, but it had first edition Flareon, and all that's. I mean, in that collection, it was probably I was paying like 10 or 15 a hollow, but even now buying those first editions, I think they're only like 40, 50 for like an LP first edition jungle card because they're so
Yeah.
heavily printed, right?
Jungle's undervalued. Jungle and Fossil are undervalued, if you ask me.
I do think so too. It's just that they printed it so heavily.
And, we're going into Fossil soon, so I do
First,
have all the
Snorlax.
hollows from Jungle First Ed.
That first
And
Snorlax is sick.
oh, dude, I love that one. I did pick up the pre-release cards. I don't know. Part of me like thought that they kind of belonged. So I kind of put it beforehand. But I have all of the Fossil hollows First Ed too. I got the big boy Dragonite, the Gengar,
Both the big boys.
Dragonite. He's like $200, I think, now, which is
Oh,
pretty fair considering. I think I paid probably like $10 or so. Like, it
that
was
that's close to what I paid. I bought from a bar back that I had at the bar. He was like, "Yeah, my dad did trash for the city and has a trash bag full of cards." And I was like, "Bring it
oh
in."
yeah, you mentioned that. That's amazing. That's a
Yeah,
really good story.
bunch of pretty much all my first edition Jungle Fossil Rocket cards. They all come, including the secret rare Raichu. All of those come from local stuff. The local stuff has saved me. It's the only reason that I have even a decent collection.
I am a big advocate of hunting, so I love going out and hunting at local shops. That's where I get my best deals too. All right, so now we're getting into Team Rocket, so we'll get into more like bangers like the Blastoise that I got for $5.
Such a banger. Such a banger.
The first, and these are hollows. Sometimes it's hard to see, but all these are the hollows. 5 82.
So sick.
Yeah, and I got the pre-release Dark Gyarados. It's cheap, but I felt like it had to go next to the First Ed one. The Dark
A
Magneton.
Dark Magneton and a first edition, if you don't know this, that card, if it's super, super glossy and clean, those are big money.
Yeah, the
I recall.
silver hollow is very easy to scratch, and
Yeah.
often out of the pack it's like that.
Well, yeah, because
Unfortunately, this
it's
is
sitting
not a PSA 10,
card.
I can tell you that.
There's
That
there's
one.
sit- they're sitting between cards, so it's like cards out of old packs are so unlikely to hit a 10. I mean, they are so, unless it's a sealed box. It's if it's been moving around and had a long life with a bunch of owners, it's so unlikely you're going to get a 10 in any heavy pack, but that's just my opinion.
So now we're coming up on some like mega bangers. Blaine's Moltres.
Bears.
I
Dude,
like
those
the
are sick. This makes me want to just like I already have most of the sets completed that are older, but this makes me want to go back and just go after all the first editions, just so I can be like, I have all the first editions and the unlimited because I have the first edition base set complete, and I have a bunch of the first edition. I have like a skeleton set of a lot of the first edition cards, but it would just be dope to be a completionist.
Oh
Pre-release.
yeah, it's definitely cool. Like that's definitely kind of my thing is I like to have like everything laid out like this. Rocket Scyther, Sabrina Gengar. That's a
That literally is such a nice binder because it's really at the core of what a lot of collectors want, but we end up buying a bunch of crap we don't need, myself included. But it's
oh
just
yeah.
hollow.
And then we got the mega banger, the
Oh
Blaine
gosh, those are
Blaine
dope.
Charizard. I actually picked up the last card I needed from this set recently, which is actually this Erica's Venusaur. I didn't even have it in unlimited, but they do a lot of card shows around here, and a guy had it for 140, which is a pretty good price, and it's really minty, and it's hard to display here, but it does have a swirl down here. Unintentionally, a lot of my hollows have swirls, and I wasn't even going after those. But I totally lucked
That's
out
like
on
a
that.
selling point right now, dude. This is extreme drip right now. Everybody's aspirations as a collector right now. Love that Raichu. Oh my god, dude, this would run me like several thousand plus the crystal set, plus
Yeah,
Aquapolis, plus Skyridge bangers. It's too much, bro.
yeah, we're getting there. We're getting there. We're coming
And
up on my favorite stuff, the
for
Neo
people to
stuff.
rewatch this live, this is going to be an exceptional. Like people who weren't here for the live, they are going to seriously be like, "How did I miss this going on?" Like this was a really well talked about. We did really good topics. The ending is going over some of the nicest cards in the hobby. I couldn't be happier with it.
Dude, I'm really glad you had me on, man. Like this, I don't have a ton of people I could show this off to,
And
and
now you're showing almost 2,000 people, which is pretty cool. I know we'll get a couple hundred people that view this after, but
this was the last big boy that I needed from Neo Genesis, and it cost a fuckload, but I had an unlimited one, but it was the
did
last
you
one I
buy
needed first ed. A local antique store, they got it in, and it's in really nice shape, like super minty. I'm very very picky, like collector. Like if I see whitening, I usually pass on stuff. And it was very minty. It does have like a scratch on it because this is another one of those like impossible to get a 10 in cards, which is why a 10 is like 150,000. Um, but it was 750. It was 750, but they always give me 10% off everything I buy. So I got it for like, 685 or 675. I
Wow.
can't do math right
Wow.
now.
What a deal. Also makes me feel better that there are people still that have most of their stuff from before, but are still willing to pay market prices.
Oh, big time. I've kind of grown up with the price increases, so I've learned to accept. This is like an ultra banger, like now in like mint
Dude,
condition.
dude, the T17, PSA 10, dude.
Dude, even a 9 is like nut.
That's one of the first cards that like I was like, I this is a card that I have to have at some point.
And what's cool is I think in Japanese they only had these hollows in the set, and these came out later. I forget how it worked out, but like that's why like all the starters have like two hollows in this set. And I got all the hollows, so even metal energy and stupid stuff like that I got. Now we're getting in some some really heavy hitters that we got the Espeon first ed. I picked up this Fortress not long ago, and it was actually the last first ed hollow I needed from this set. I slept on it for a while, so I
I
think I
love
paid like
that Houndor. That Houndor below it, I love the Houndor card.
oh yeah, this is first ed too. It's just hard to see. Oh dude, yes, this guy's a
Yeah,
freaking beauty, man.
I think I sold mine already. I'm pretty sure I sold or traded mine already. It had a crease in it, but I still just think that's a really, really cool artwork.
And I thought it's cool when they did like the double evolutionary line. Both cards were
Why don't
hollow.
they do that? Why don't they do that more often? Give the starters, not just the starters, but give those first evolution lines a cool hollow or really, and that's what's cool about the alternate arts and modern. The Galarian galleries.
Oh, dude, yeah, I totally agree. I always like this Polytoad. Like, I always like that card. Um, of course, we got to get the Scyther. I'm a big fan of Smeargle, actually. I don't, I don't know why. In the game, his sketch ability, you could turn it into any move, and there's a lot of really cool combinations you can do with that. I've always really liked them. This is first ed. It's just hard to see.
Yeah, that's so
Um,
funny with the dark type
Oh
cards.
yeah, and
Funny.
that's first ed too. All
Makes
all
it
these
harder
all
to
these
appreciate.
they're basically all first ed. I was really good about keeping up with that.
Oh man.
So now we Neo Revelation, Blissey. Love the Celebi. The hollowing is very minimal on the card. It's basically only on this like moon crescent part, but like even that is just such a beautiful card. The
I'm a
the
fan of Celebi, and I don't know why. It's a turnip. It's a flying turnip.
Dude, Celebi's really growing on me like these days. I really like Celebi. The Crobat has a similar issue where like the hollowing basically only exists in like a really small region. It's weird. But it
Those
is
dark
the
backgrounds are always tough.
but it is the hollow. It is the 4 of 64 Delibird. Here's a banger. We got the Entei. And like I haven't talked about this, but like most of these are like near mint plus. Like I was very picky on like what I picked up.
Well, I
There's
would be
only
nervous with all those cards, and they're all really high value cards. I would be nervous shipping all those out. They're safe. They're in the binder. You can see with your eyes the condition of them, and it's all neat and all put together. So yeah,
this
I
is
feel like it's hard for
this
you to take all those out and ship them all out. But dude, if you did, that would be insane. That would be an insane. But what's nice with the you can't do with the slabs is having it on a nice binder like that to look over.
Yeah, there's a lot of reasons I never graded. Cost, like, because as you can see, like to grade this entire collection would cost me several $1,000s. And
Yep.
like that's several $1,000s I can put towards more collecting, you know?
Now, if it was 15, 20 to grade cards, regardless of what their intended value was, I think it would be a different story for you. Even if it racked up to like being $1,000, I think you'd have to do it at that point, though, just to protect them no matter what, because it's sketchy to say, but like if something happened to the binder, if the binder got dropped a certain way, even if you're not going anywhere with it, but you decide to take it to a convention and maybe trade up on some stuff, I don't know. It's just that's the only thing with binders, and like all my cards are pretty much in binders that are from those older sets. So I do like the idea of having that protective plastic slab.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah, of course. It just it always makes me nervous thinking of thinking about. I always like this Mr. Evis. Before we go
Beautiful.
into there's like some we got like quad bangers coming up. So we got the Ryko first ed, the Suicune first ed. You ready for this? Yeah, we got the Shining Gyarados first ed.
Yeah, that one's elusive. Even in unlimited, that one keeps getting away from you. I just want the shinings in unlimited. It's so
Ooh,
expensive.
let me see if I could show it. This has a disgustingly good swirl on it. This Magikarp. Yeah, the lighting is not the best. There it is.
There it is.
Disgusting, disgusting swirl.
Oh man,
Uh,
Cosmo Hollow, the classic Cosmo Hollow. It's such a banger.
Now we are getting to a couple cards I don't have first edition. This is my highest priority card to get first edition is this Dark Ampharos. Though this copy is my childhood copy, and it is
Nice.
quite crisp because I sleeved all my stuff even when I was like 10. Um, so I probably wouldn't sell this even when I get another one because it's so crisp. Now this Dark Crobat, it's first edition. I did pull this. I had one opportunity to buy one Neo Destiny first edition pack when I was a kid, and I thankfully got the Dark Crobat, and it's been in my collection ever since. Um,
Dope.
and that's also my favorite set. Neo Destiny, hands down, favorite set. Dark Dawn fan first ed, Dark Espeon first ed. Dude, I think I paid $90 for this, and like I got it way late. I think I got it in like 2018. And like I wasn't even really collecting at the time, but a local store had it, and I was like, well, shit, it's the only hollow I'm missing from the set. So it honestly hurt because I was collecting other things at the time, but I was like, I need to prioritize that. And damn, I'm glad I did because
Yeah.
I had no idea that this set was going to be um, as high as it is. Got the first ed Dark Gengar, Dark Houndoom. Like this set was so fucking awesome, man. Like, and it shows with the pricing. Like people,
I'm
yeah, the
waiting
dark.
for the light Arcanine. I'm waiting for that light Arcanine.
Oh, it's in there, boy. It's got a disgusting swirl on it too. Let me see if I can. And this thing, dude, this thing is crisp. This. Let's see if I can show the swirl. I forget where it's at.
Such a beautiful card.
Oh, there it is. Yeah, the swirl's kind of like in the bottom right there.
And this will be great for newer collectors, people coming back to the hobby that don't know much about these sets. This is the pinnacle. This binder you're seeing right now is the pinnacle, and I'm very very lucky, and I feel very blessed that you came into my channel, liked the content, joined the Discord, like showed the binder at first. Like it's all been leading up to this, and this is like some of the best live content I feel like I could do in a while.
You need to help me find one of these at Collecticon. So the first ed light Togetic is also another chase of mine. I don't know if this is a childhood one or not, because I did open a decent amount of Neo Destiny when I was younger. I'm not really sure because I was so heavy in collecting first editions that like I can only assume that I didn't get this first ed because I already owned it. it was a lot harder for me to upgrade cards I already owned. Miracle Energy First Ed. Now I kind of spoiled it, but we do have the Ultra Mega Bangers, all first edition, thankfully. And these are all in really crisp shape. Unfortunately, I think my Charizard's my worst one. And I've never graded, but I've seen stuff that gets PSA 7s and 8s, and it's got to be at least an 8, like for sure, because it's still extremely nice. This Raichu, the next couple are in they're
Love
in
that.
they're in such crisp condition. It makes me nervous. This is first ed. It's just hard to see. Super crisp Steelix. Same with the Tyranitar. And
Need
then
the car.
I had to get the Koro Koro Mew to match it.
I feel like I'm seeing the Koro Koro Shining Mew pop up a lot now. Maybe that's
Yeah,
just I'm a noob, but
it's not crazy expensive either.
no,
Okay,
it's
so
not.
that's that's that's
Beautiful.
it for the first binder. I'm very weird. I pad the end of the binders with empty pages because I don't want any of the cards to be like bent at an angle when it's shut. So like I purposely skip like the first like 3 or 4 pages in all my binders. I'm definitely on the spectrum. So that's why like a lot of these are like empty like that. Cause
Damn
I
it,
kind of
dude. Damn it, dude. That's actually really smart. I should have thought about doing that.
well,
I
cause
I
dude,
packed my binders full, bro.
if you fill this up, this card's getting bent here, like for sure.
I know, and I've looked at collections and been like, bro, I love all the cards here. Like this one guy had a fully shadowless binder. He had duplicates of the Charizard and the Blastoise, everything. It was all base set, but I had to pass on giving him what he wanted because literally everything on that end was warped.
Oh, dude, yeah, it's so
And
unfortunate.
probably still could have graded really well, which I didn't think that at the time. At the time, I thought this is warped. They're not going to grade this well, but I think they would.
Yeah, so they actually don't dock you for bends. They only dock you for creases. However, because I noticed this, one of my Flareon, my first ed Flareon Jungle had a slight bend to it, but I changed my binder around and put it here, and it straightened itself out, like just under the weight. So now we're getting into the e-reader stuff. I do have some gaps in here, but I basically have all the binders, all the bangers. Fortunately, I have every hollow from Expedition though. That's the
I
one that
love
I
that.
did.
I love all these e-reader sets because there are no first editions. I'm like, if I cross these off, they're done.
Oddly enough, in Japan, this was the first set to have first editions, and the first set in English to not have first editions. I love
That's
this
funny.
dragon.
That Dragonite is so phenomenal. The Charizard is I think it's an abomination, and I bought it, but I think it's an abomination. It's the
Oh man,
CGI
I
terrible.
love, I love it. But I can see this is the golem you were talking about, right?
Yes, I picked up a minty one today, $23. Very happy about it.
Damn.
Oh, the Machamp. That's the other one I needed.
Yeah.
I needed that. Dang it. I know I forgot something at the store. Wait, is that a Magby in there too?
Yeah.
Okay, those are the two actually in the store that I didn't pick up. Ah, fuck.
The cool
All right.
thing is too, these sets, it's hard to see, but the hollows are numbered. So it's like 18 or no, this set might be different. Okay, so it's Aquapolis and Skyridge.
Yeah, Aquapolis and Skyridge have the H32,
Yeah,
which
I thought
is
it was this set too.
helpful if you're completing those sets because literally the only thing you have to plug in is pretty much H32 Hollow, and it will give you all of the Aquapolis and Skyridge cheapest options, cheapest auctions. Dude, I love those cards so much. Oh my gosh, never gets the Hollow on the Hollow. Okay, we're wrapping up here.
This is where I do have a couple gaps, Aquapolis, and so you'll see when I get to them if it's a card I don't have, I put a common card backwards as kind of a placeholder. I actually picked up this Bell Awesome recently. It has a disgusting swirl in the middle. I got a really good price on that. Blissey, that swirl is like popping out. The Entei is really high right now. Same with the Espeon.
Pika, the plan for tonight, we'd had a really long discussion. This is going to be a sick video for people to watch back that missed the live. And he's showing his entire, his most valuable cards, which are pretty much all first edition and just minty fresh cards from the older sets up to 2003. So this is going to be something people watch over and are like, this is a treat. But
No.
we'll
So
close here shortly.
we are missing a couple here towards the end. I think I'm missing 4 hollows from Aquapolis, sadly. We'll get them eventually.
Yeah, Aquapolis not too bad. You have the Tyranitar. I find so hard to get, and the Umbreon, which are the two biggest bangers in that one. Actually, no, the Lugia. Duh.
I actually pulled this Zapdos as a kid, so I still have it in the collection, which is cool. Randomly bought an e-reader set when I was like 13. Now we're getting to the
I need
some of
that
the
out.
ultra bangers. I do have a lot more gaps in Skyridge. I have most of the high end cards. I am sadly missing the Gengar, which is actually my big chase card.
So we both are gonna suffer for that Gengar. Both of us will be looking for that Gengar at Collecticon then.
Dude, it's my big chase for that convention. And
Gengar is so fresh, bro.
Magneton. This set had 2 Magnetons, which is kind of some of these sets did that.
That Nidoqueen is sick. That Nidoqueen is so undervalued.
Oh, dude, yeah, this Nidoqueen's beautiful. Rhyhorn.
Yo, what up?
Starmie. Here you go, bro.
Dude, I need that Umbreon so bad. It's like it keeps auctioning at 1,300 for a 9, and I'm just like, dude, 1,300. That's my whole week check basically after taxes. Like,
Oh yeah, that's a tough one. Now we get. I put all the crystals together. It just looked like ultra sexy on like one page of 9.
Right now, our boy Chaos, who's one of our subs here, who's in our Discord, he just randomly was like, "Yo, let's do the live tonight." All right, you got to go back to that Charizard though. You got to. I want to see that dude with some light on it. Okay, that's the one part of this live I need to see that card with some light on it.
Okay, I got you.
And the Lugia. Oh my god, and the Nidoking. Oh god, they're all so fire. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Dude, these are
and I don't even like love that artwork, but man, the more I see this card, the more I'm like, oh my god, that's pinnacle right there.
Well, what's really cool
is buying 2 first edition Charizards. I should have just I don't know why I bought 2. I had to have a thin and a thick stamp, but I should have just put that money towards a freaking Charizard from Skyridge. I hate myself.
What's really cool is the foiling comes down like the card and like wraps around the text box, like for the attacks. You see how the foiling comes down? The crystals are the only cards in this set that do that. Sadly, this is my only crystal that doesn't have like a noticeable swirl. It's kind of hidden by the crystal type, like Pokebody like effect. But otherwise, like, dude, the condition of this Charizard is it's scary. It scares me holding this right now. Like
the competitive part of me is like, I'm done. I throw in the towel. dude, your collection is beautiful, man.
Thank you. Yeah, I'll let you get a good look at the Lugia too. This Lugia almost brings a tear to my eye because like I don't want to talk it up, but like I think it's a 10. Like this, I looked at the back recently, and dude, it has a double swirl on it. You got a swirl over here, and you have a swirl in this corner.
Dude, and the swirl goes with the wings, like the gust. Like, dude. Oh, dude, that there are some single cards in that binder, dude, that I just think once you put it in a slab, it's a whole different value. You know, it's like not a card you want in a binder. It's a card that is on display on the shelf that's like one of the absolute grails. Dude, I love that card. I've loved that card ever since I got back into it. I've told my wife so many times, like, I'm going to buy it this week. I'm going to buy it this week. And I just never get around to it. There's so much other crap I always get pulled into. Do you have any theme decks by chance?
Not a single one. I know that's like one thing you're really into. This has a disgusting swirl on his head.
I still need someone offered me 1,600 on the lava and the turmoil theme decks, which are, well, no one can see them, but these two right here are those in this Aquapolis, the Evolution theme deck. These two sealed are like this one just has a plastic wrap on it, but it's open. But these two sealed, that's like I need those still so badly for my theme deck collection.
Yeah, this guy's got a disgusting swirl on his head.
Yeah, dude. My buddy, like that's probably his favorite crystal. And I'm like, really? It's not the Lugia? He's like, dude, it's the Crobat and the Kingdra. And I was like, and the Nidoking, which I think Nidoking is a little bit undervalued. I think the Nidoking in Aquapolis is absolutely pinnacle. That card should be worth more, I think.
Oh, dude, big time. This has a nice swirl on it too.
I can't even fathom all the crystals. I'm just like, just get me the bangers, and I'll catch up to the rest in like a decade.
Dude, dude, like just look at this page. Like honestly, it makes dude, it honestly, like, not even to sound like sappy, but like I honestly get teared up sometimes looking at this because like these are in such amazing condition that like I'm gonna go out on a limb and say I might be one of the only people that has all of them raw in this condition.
I mean, definitely, dude. You've got so many big YouTube and influencer names and like big money collectors that are not known on social media whatsoever for that. It's in a box in their mansion, and they never talk about it. But I will tell you right now, you are the only person that I know that's in North Carolina that's down the street that has a collection like this. Absolutely
And,
phenomenal.
and we're still not done because you know we got
Oh, of course the gold star, dude. I'm gonna lose my mind right now. Yo, what up? What up?
hey man, so all three of these, they were PSA 9s when I bought them and I cracked them. And I paid 450
Dude, I
for
love your
the
laugh gets me. I'm like, I couldn't ever want to compete with this guy. This guy, you are a very, I can tell you're a down to earth guy. What do you do for work, by the way? I've been wanting to ask you this.
I'm a network engineer, so I do computer networking. Oddly enough, like I was very new to the career when I was collecting all these, so I didn't make anywhere what I make now. And I was still fortunate to be able to get this set at the time. That's what I said.
I have those three cards and the Alakazam. Oh, I just had to fork up $1,000. Oh, jeez. Oh
This
man,
is
dude.
actually one of my more favorite ones is the Metagross.
This man was on a binder journey. But yeah, why would you crack a 9? That is a great question.
So at the time in 2016, like there was only like two people in the community that really gave a shit about PSA. It was
PSA was what you're saying was it was more of a barometer for being able to collect confidently, which now it's really like it's like a luxury. It's like a wealth, a status type thing. Like I have the 9s, I have the 10s. Whereas 2015, 2016, it was like, I'm not gonna buy an 8. A 9 is $20 more. I'll just buy the 9. I feel good about that.
Exactly. And it wasn't really only
You ever buy
10
any crack them?
only 10s were worth more at the time. Like 9s were basically the same price as like a minty raw one. And so I saw PSA stuff is just kind of more of a pain in the ass at the time. The only collector I knew that gave a shit about PSA then was he goes by TCA Gaming now.
Dude, I love dude. He's one of my favorites for sure.
I have a story about him that I'll tell after I go. Unfortunately, my Pikachu does have a little bit of damage on the corner, but I paid $80 for it, so I can't really be that upset.
It's still like a $400 card in that condition, or 300. People will pay that for a slightly damaged Gold Star Pikachu. I've seen it in auctions. Maybe they don't pay, but I've seen it.
This is my favorite one.
I can't fully get behind the card, but like you've said, you got to see it in person. So, and I've never seen one up close.
This is the one that started it all, man.
Your $50 Mew. Your $50 Mew, dude. Look at you.
I was like, I'm not leaving this house without this. Dude, I bought the Flareon, Jolteon, and Vaporeon all from Troll and Toad for $30 a piece.
Guys, Dude, a lot of people, if they actually watch to the end, I think I'm gonna have to put in the description. Please go to the last 30 minutes of this live, and you will have a great treat.
And like I said, I don't really collect for value, but I felt it was fitting to add the Greninja because he is a gold star.
Oh my god, dude, you are a clown for that.
Well, I it
He
technically is
is the
part of the
gold
set,
star, though.
and I have the whole set together. So
Yeah, you got to do it. You got to do it. So,
um,
is there ever a dollar amount that you would take, or is it totally priceless? Like, if a collector reached out that watched this and was like, "Hey, man, I'm a high end collector. What do you want for that binder? I will give it to you." Is that something like if it was slightly within reason, maybe even a little over market, just because they'll buy the whole binder and have all those cards right there? Is there an offer that you'd be like, okay, this could go into a money market account. I could get serious money off this just growing, or is this like you're taking this to your grave for sure?
interesting question. I get asked that all the time, and the easy answer is I don't really have a dollar amount. For a lot of reasons. Like I don't think it might sound a bit pretentious, but like this binder was like years of passion and money and looking around for a good deal and making smart moves, making dumb moves, making friends along the way. The time me and my wife got to go to, down to Georgia and checking out comic stores there while we were there. And I I think that somebody buying this collection from me and having none of that work or dedication or passion put towards it is a disservice to to kind of what it took to get the cards. And so because of that, I can't even put a value on it because like I know that's like a cop out answer, but like that's kind of how I
No,
really
no,
feel. I think you cut out there for a second, but yeah, it's just like going to a friend's house and randomly finding a, Gold Star Mew and like that was a cool story. Or, randomly going on, this dude, this Umbreon, like the Umbreon, like that was an eBay deal where I gave the guy my email and we're talking over the phone for like days, like trying to nickel and dime this Umbreon. And he's telling me the stories about how he got it. And, he wants it to go to a good home and like dude that kind of hits man like like I
no.
almost remember like picking up every one of these cards and like the memories that go along with it and like I think that hits so much more than any monetary value can give me and like
That's
I
why
don't
it's very hard for me to even sell. Like, I've got another stack, but there's no box for it. But like, I met up with a buddy who sold me the gold stars, and he wanted to trade a bunch of old hollows for them straight up. And I was like, dude, honestly, I know that this is a smart trade, but I literally like I know these aren't worth nearly as much as the gold stars, but I'd still rather pay you cash because I spent a lot of time searching for all this stuff. So I completely can relate with that. And I think for me, it's definitely different. I've gone into debt. I've spent way too much money, and I'm finally in a really good place now where I'm saving again. And I think about my wife and my daughter and her getting older and wanting to go to a good school, and I'm like, if it came to that, that would be the thing that had me sell off a large chunk of a collection so that I could give them a slightly better life. But my hopes, I run a bar here in Charlotte. You should definitely pop down to Starlight on 22nd. Sometime we have events all week, but it's starting to really grow and become successful. I just got a karaoke night event going on Mondays. Yo, what up, guys? Thanks for coming out. We're about to wrap it up, but I just got a karaoke night going on Mondays, and I'm just like the bar could really grow exponentially, and if it does, I am going to keep on collecting heavily, even if I have to pay these ridiculous market prices. Um, my main concern is that the market could correct a little bit, but it just seems like everything is just going to keep moving up. The longer I wait, certain cards, even the Gengar, last year, I feel like in a 9 was not going for 13, $1,400, $1,500. So I feel like the longer I wait, I'm having more FOMO, and that's why I went into debt. That's why I spent insane amounts of money collecting my cards, because I was just like, this is only going to get harder. If I start now, I might thank myself in a couple of years, because I want them. I know that I'm a completionist, but it's so tough spending all the money that it takes to create a collection like yours right now. It's not. But I get people are gonna have to do the same legwork you did. Garage sales, comic book stores. I think the comic book stores are great because some of those guys don't care at all about Pokemon. I found some really good deals from going through, like you said, a little box of like $10 cards, and I'm like, yo, this Japanese Lugia is not like a $10, $20 card. This is easily a $30 or $40 card, and I don't even care. It's just freaking beautiful. So those deals are even out there in 2023. Um,
We got we got a couple. Okay, so the TCA gaming story. Okay,
and my
so
phone is gonna die, so that's why I'm like I'm a little stressed out. Like I'm a little bit stressed out, but tell the TCA story because I love TCA. I still have a little card he sent me with some stuff I bought from him. But
okay, so I've been following him since like 2015, 2016, and he's around my age. And one of the last gold shinings I picked up was the Shining Charizard. Me and my wife, we went down to Georgia to visit her brother, and while we were down there, we checked out a store called Super Games, and they're actually still around. In fact, they're a vendor on TCG Player, and we went in the store, and like it was kind of like a big warehouse. Like more people go there to actually play than buy. And they said they had an online inventory, and they had so much of it that they didn't have anything on a display. So you had to use like a computer system that they had set up to like
that's
search
what
it.
the store I just went to today was using, and it's
Yeah.
pretty cool. It's pretty cool.
So my problem is like I can't always tell you what I'm looking for unless I see it. And so I was like, well, let's just do a Hail Mary. Let's just search Shining and see what shows up. First edition Shining Charizard. I'm like, no fucking way. This random store in Georgia. So I asked to look at it, and like it's good. Like I'm gonna get it. $350. And I was super happy to pay that. Now, where TCA comes into the story is on the way back from that trip. So I actually live in Virginia. I'm from North Carolina, but I don't live there. Um, and so on the way back, at this time, he was called the Charizard Authority. That's what TCA means.
That's what I remember.
Yeah.
I thought
And
that was a person, but it took a while to register fully.
yeah. And he actually had a store, like a physical storefront in
And
North
it did
Carolina.
out, if I remember right. And it's
What's
probably
up?
because of overhead costs.
Yeah, yeah. And I actually have a funny story about that too.
If he did that
So,
now, Pokemon is blowing, exploding.
oh yeah. So we went into the store, and like I picked up some mega bangers in there. Like I got the Blaine's Moltres you just saw in the binder for like $15 and like a bunch of other stuff. But while I was in there, he was happy to talk to a real collector too, and he was showing me some of his high end stuff. And I told him like, "Hey, I just picked up this first edition Shining Charizard for $350," and he's like, "Bro, you overpaid." And like, yeah, like that comment did not age well because like a few weeks ago, I got into his live stream, and I just sent him a super chat so he'd actually see it. And I was like, "Hey man, like I went to your shop in 2016, and you told me that I overpaid for this Shining First Edition Charizard for $350." And he was like, "Yeah, that sounds like something I would say." And like, damn, I was wrong, and I hope you still have it. And I'm like, "Yeah, I do." And he was like, "Holy crap, man." And yeah, I asked him about the like what happened to the store, and he just said it was a lot of stress, like having to be there all the time because he would miss out on deals because he wasn't working. And but yeah, man, that was like really amazing that I was able to see that store when it was around, and like
And
there was
talk to
some, yeah, and talk to him. And he was a chill dude. Like he
he's
had a
still
whole
a chill.
binder.
He's one of the chillest collectors that are out there currently.
Yeah. Dude, he's super down to earth. And he showed me his collection. It was before I got all the gold stars. And so he had the Espeon and the Umbreon and like a binder that he kept in the back of the store of all things. And he let me see it. And dude, he let me take it out of the sleeve and everything. Like he was like, I know you're like a legit collector, you know what you're doing. And like he hooked me up with a sick deal on a couple hollows. I don't remember what all I got, but I know the Blaine's Moltres first edition was one of them, and it was like $15. I know that for sure.
Man, that's wild. And yeah, as a store owner too, like you have to be competitive. You're going to negotiate. So I think that's also a store, like a business impulse to like be like, oh, you overpaid on that. The best I could do on a card like that would be that. Did he offer you anything for it?
Nah, he didn't. But he did tell me that the first edition Shining Charizard he bought, he only paid $17 for.
Yeah, and he has been ever since he was a youngin in it. So, guys, thank you so much for coming out. Chaos, this has been an extremely good live. I had a lot of fun. I did not expect it to go this long. I usually don't, but um, this was seriously great. And I hope everybody will enjoy this afterwards. I think a lot of people are going to enjoy this. I'm going to put in the description, go to the last 30, 40 minutes if you want to treat. Um, but I think that's going to be a night for me. Wifey's waiting for me to get in bed. So I'm going to have to say goodnight to everybody. Peace out, guys. Thank you so much for coming out to the live. It's been a lot of fun. Chaos, thank you so much. What's your name? Because I only know you from the Discord and the channel. If
Um,
you want to be anonymous, totally understand that, and maybe more people would want that to come on. But I figured I would
I
ask.
think I want to stay anonymous for now. But I'll PM you, and we can talk. We can talk more about the personal side of things. But
Absolutely understand. My friend who's a collector here is like, if you tell people that you bought the gold stars off me, like I'm giving you a good deal. I'm not worried about any backlash. I just don't want my name thrown in there. I don't want to be on social media. I don't want to be on a screen or anything like that. So totally respect that. Um, anyways, guys, peace.
peace out.
Have a good night, man.
Later. See if I can figure out how to turn this off.